This is your help video for quiz 1.12. Alright, so the first type question says, what is the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a hexagon? So in order to do this, we need to know our formula. To get the sum of the measures of the interior angles of any figure, we're going to take the number of sides, subtract 2 from it, and then multiply it by 180. So it looks like this. Number of sides minus 2 times 180. And sometimes you'll see the 180 in the front, sometimes it'll be in the back. But that's going to be our formula. That'll tell us the sum of the measures of the interior angle. So since it's a hexagon, we have to ask ourselves, okay, how many sides does that have? An hexagon has 6 sides. So we're going to take that number of sides, 6, subtract 2, and then multiply by 180. So we're going to do 6 minus 2 is 4. 4 times 180 is 720 degrees. So the sum of all the interior angles of a hexagon is 720 degrees. The next one says, what is the measure of each angle of a regular hexagon? Okay, so again, we need to start with the shape that we're given. We're given a hexagon which has 6 sides. So we would want to, if we hadn't just done it, which we have, we would want to start back up here and figure out what the sum of all the interior angles would be. But since we just did it, we can go ahead and take and say, okay, there's 720 total degrees, and there's 6 sides, so I'm going to divide that by 6 to see what each of those angles equals. That means each of the angles has to be 120 degrees. So if this had said, what is the measure of the interior angles of an octagon, we would have to start off by finding the sum of all the angles. So we'd have to do 180 times 8 minus 2, which is 1080. Then we would have to take that total sum and divide it by how many sides there are. So in this case, if you had an octagon, each angle would be 135 degrees. So you're still going to use that sum formula to get the sum of all the interior angles, and then you're going to divide it by how many angles you would have. Okay, what is the sum of the measures of the exterior angles of an octagon? So for exterior angles, we don't have a formula to memorize, y'all. It is always 360 degrees. No matter what kind of shape or size, it's always 360 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and make myself a note of that. The sum of the measures of the exterior angles is always 360 degrees. Okay, so in this one, what is the value of x? Well, the first thing we need to do is ask ourselves how many sides there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a pentagon. There's 5 sides. So let's figure out the sum of all the interior angles by using our formula. 180 times the number of sides minus 2. So the sum of the interior angles has to add up to 540 degrees. So now we're just going to add all these up to figure it out. So we're going to take 131 plus 108 plus 107 plus 110. I'm going to add those first. 131 plus 108, 107. Oh man, typed that in wrong. Alright, and so I got 456 degrees. So by adding these 4 together, it equals 456. But I know the total of all the angles has to equal 540. So to find that missing angle, I could take 540 degrees and subtract 456. So now I know that x has to be 84 degrees. So to do a problem like this, you're going to have to start off by finding the sum of the angles. So count up the sides and then plug it into the formula. And then once you know what the sum of them has to be, then add them all up and subtract from that total sum. What is the measure of an exterior angle of a regular hexagon? Okay, so we're talking about exterior angles. Remember, the sum of the exterior angles is always 360 degrees, no matter what shape it is. But that's not our answer here because it wants to know what the measure of an exterior angle is. So just one of the exterior angles. So since it's a hexagon, again, we know that 6 sides. So I'm going to take that total sum of 360 and I'm going to divide it by 6 to figure out what one of them would be. So I know that one exterior angle has to be 60 degrees. And that's it. Good luck.